There have been two Broadways in my life. This one, Broadway, New York. And this one, Broadway, Gary, Indiana. You know, Gary, Indiana, from The Music Man? But I digress.
And now, for the first time in the one-man show he likes to call Sparkle, give a warm welcome to the sparkler himself, Jeffrey Klein.
Inquiring minds want to know, whatever happened to the sparkler after his wildly successful world tour? Well, he moved to Boynton Beach, Florida.
Florida?
Florida.
Florida.
Oh! Yeah. Now that's impressive.
So this is Catherine, the goddess McGlennon, and I met her through Chris Everett Charities when I gave a small donation to spend the afternoon with Chrissy. My buddy Mark Donahue, and he's like been the closest friend to me that I've met since I moved down here. I call him my BFF. This is the next phase of the most intriguing, interesting, and endearing people that I've met since I moved to South Florida almost 4 years ago. This is Charles and Anna Carlino. Hi. And they basically adopted me, and they've been great. They've just been great.
The big child we never had.
Well, yeah. Okay, can we talk? Can we talk? Okay, this is phase 2 of the most intriguing people that I've met since my move to South Florida almost 4 years ago. With me, I've got Delia Weiss, who's become a very, very special friend. She's a Renaissance woman herself, endlessly fascinating, imagination, and we just really, really clicked as good friends. Anyway, this is Pastor Jack Kopus, and he's pastor of the church I was going to until I started working every Sunday. Now I can't go to church. But we got to be very good friends, and we bonded right off the bat, and I don't know why.
No, I'm harboring a grudge because you're not coming to church. I don't.
It was time to move to a different area, get out of my comfort zone. And let me tell you, moving down here, my friend, is really getting out of your comfort zone. Like I said, I had a hard time getting acclimated to living down here, and they really helped me with that transition. Spent the afternoon with Chrissy and play some tennis with her. And I said, I think I like it here. You know, find me a real estate agent.
South Florida, what's not to like?
It has been for you too, hasn't it?
Right? Yeah.
You know, this is like ripping a Band-Aid off.
This is new. This
is
all
a
new.
very unusual.
But I wouldn't change it for anything.
No.
And one thing I'm sure of, I'll never go back. Never.
Moving here is Florida is very transient.
Very transient.
Very transient.
And there's nobody, not many people from Florida. Everybody's from somewhere, but you'll find that the people that are actually from Florida.
Some people came here to escape.
Yeah.
Never.
No, I won't either.
I could never go back to that life living that I had. I can never do that.
Fascinating fellow from the East Coast. He's from Boston. And you've been down here how long yourself?
Let's see, I moved down here 4 years ago.
Jack, you're from New Jersey. You were born in New Jersey,
Yes.
right?
I was born in a place north of New Jersey.
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Now you were born in
I was born in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico?
I was raised in New York since I was nine months old.
Okay. And
So, and I'm from Brooklyn.
I grew up in Niagara Falls.
I don't think you can
I could
ever go
visit
back.
it, but I could never, ever
All my friends told me
see
they're like,
myself in it ever.
all my friends are like, you'll be back.
Yeah,
You'll be
right,
back."
right. They all say
And I'm
that.
one of these people. If you say something like that to me,
Right.
it's no way.
Because it's a challenge. You actually pushed yourself.
Right.
Because,
and I miss people terribly.
When you first come to South Florida, you see all these fancy cars, and there's a lot of wealthy people here.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started real estate, I was like, what do these people do? Where did they get all their money?
They have printing presses in their basement. They print off money.
So I think you think, oh, I'm going to move to South Florida and wave my magic wand and I'm just going to start making money for you.
It just was hard. You know, I had to find my way around. I'd do the Helen Keller method. I'd go get lost and try to worm my way back without navigational system. and
Right,
tried to
right.
find my way and start a new life at
Yeah.
50 years old.
And then the friends who helped him, apparently.
Yeah, they nurtured me.
I met Jeff in church.
Yeah.
His first day that he was there. And I said,
Like she always says, sunny state, shady people. So a lot of people had a scam. They were running up north or wherever they're from, and they wore out their scam, and they came down here to try their scam out.
Just like Jeff.
Yeah, right. See, you always.
No.
It's,
No, there's a lot of money here. There's a lot of older people, so they come here to scam them.
You know, I wanted to move down here because I wanted to play tennis 12 months a year, and I wanted to try something different. I wanted a different avenue and to mix it up a little bit. Would I have a piece of fuzz? Or
No, mosquito.
Mosquito? Okay. Get past. My friend Simon, he was one of my tennis buddies, and he moved to South Florida for a little while, and him and his wife decided to have children, so they went back to England because they didn't think South Florida would be a good place to raise children.
Because of the people mainly. We have those Midwest values.
Right.
Unlike here, not to knock everything down here, but because it is fabulous, we live where everybody vacations. We could walk to the beach from here. But if somebody says they're going to do something, they do it. If somebody says, can I borrow $5 and I'm going to pay you back tomorrow, they pay you $5 back tomorrow.
Yeah, they do what they say they're going to do. I mean, there's a lot of BS down here. And, Jet gave me some good advice. He goes, sometimes you meet people and you just got to let it go and carry on. You can't carry it with you. Whatever they did or didn't do to you or disappoint you or whatever, you just got to let it go and then go on, really fast. Because, my dog is very friendly and I am too. And, I'm always cultivating. I'm always trying to cultivate, aren't I? And trying to, meet new people and make new connections. And
it can be a tough transition, because it's changed in this part of the country. I mean, in Florida, it's a little different than it was when I grew up here.
It is. It's way different because, down here you got a lot of people that move here. It's vacation mentality. They think that, they're coming here to be on vacation. And I think that they get really angry when they have to work for a living and you don't make as much as you do up north. And I believe that the cost of living is higher here than it is in the Midwest. Don't you think so, Suze?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it's, the grocery store, the gas stations, everything's just, you get nickeled and dimed a little bit down here with everything.
I think if you're from a small community, though, it's a different feel. You feel more invested in the community or more, people, there's more of a unity kind of a feel. You have to cultivate that here, really, especially if you are not from here. So I think that was kind of a hard transition. But I think you've done it now.
But I think it was, like I said, if I wouldn't have done it, I'd be much worse off now. But I just thought of another Delia story. And this is where I like with the fundamentalist church, and the Catholic Church. And, I don't consider myself religious. I consider myself spiritual. And I believe in God and I believe in Christ. And he was talking about spirituality one time. He was talking about how, don't you think century after century, God gets tired of hearing, oh, come all ye faithful. Is going to desert somebody. It says in the Bible that that's the unforgivable sin if you take your own life. I don't believe God will desert somebody. The God that I know is going to desert somebody who's that mentally ill that they need to take their own life. I don't believe that. So that's... Yeah. I never thought about that. Wouldn't God get bored of those same old hymns and everything, year after century? That kind of made me laugh. I never thought of that.
I'm very spiritual, and so is Charles, when it comes to many things. And I always say, if you meet someone and he can finish your sentence for you, or she finishes your sentence, or the same color, or just a little butterfly like we have connections with, this is what I want him to understand, is that what he's looking for is already here.
Yeah.
He just has to let other people see it, and see it on his terms, not their terms.
But I mean, this real intelligent being called God, I think he would get kind of bored with all the old things. I mean, wouldn't he want us to evolve and change things up all the time?
Well, I think that's the point of all the suffering.
Oh,
Think about it. Everything on the planet. I was thinking the other day. We watch the birds fly, right? They fly by, and we look at them and we say, "Oh, isn't that wonderful?" The birds. Like I was sitting at the beach today and I watched the bird, flying around on the beach, and you look at that and you say, "What an idyllic life." But then I realized they're fighting all the time to get food.
Men sleeping with men is such an abomination that those people should be killed. It says it right there in Leviticus 20:13.
All of human life has been designed for suffering and conflict so that we may grow.
Okay.
And I'm wrestling with, I don't really even believe in spirituality anymore. Went from organized religion to spirituality without religion.
Can I ask which organized religion?
I grew up in an Irish Catholic,
Okay, that's fine.
dysfunctional.
Okay, so you went from organized religion to...
Yeah, and then to spirituality without religion. But now I'm rejecting even spirituality because I'm thinking that if we knew, for example, that God, if we could prove scientifically, for example, that God existed, or as I prefer to say, the universal consciousness existed and was a real thing, it wouldn't be spiritual anymore. Spirituality, if you read all the different definitions, has to do with these ephemeral, magical things.
Well, I would say mystery.
Mystery, exactly, the mystery.
Yeah.
But it's funny because...
Faith.
Yeah, but if we knew for a fact, if it was all revealed to us, and it wasn't a mystery anymore, it was real, spirituality just...
You wouldn't have to have faith.
It falls away.
You wouldn't have to have faith.
And what's fascinating about our time now is that, and I'm not saying it's all science-based, I think there's a place right now for the mystery, but science is getting closer and closer to identifying things that were always sort of in the magical, ephemeral, spiritual realm. And we're getting a little bit of
more evolved.
Confluence, I guess. Maybe I don't know if that's the right word, but we're getting more...
Higher level of consciousness.
Well,
another thing that I find when I meet fundamentalists, I consider myself spiritual but not religious. I have a problem with organized religion. I do. The older I get, the more I see. It's polarized to me. I think organized religion and spirituality are polarized. And that's so much fun. What was the one couple that was here, or this one lady was here? Remember they were coaching me on how to be a better Jew? What, you a better Jewish person? And I'm like, well, what do you mean you want to make a better Jew out of me? And you're like, okay, rule number 1, when you go to a restaurant, you never take the first table that it's given to you.
Oh.
You say, oh no, this won't do, I feel a draft. Oh no, this won't, never take the first table.
I never heard that. That's a good
And what else did she say? You got to complain more. I'm hot.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah.
However, a lot of fundamentalists that I know and a lot of people, they think, they have this illusion that God actually wrote the Bible himself. Men were inspired by God to write the pages of the Bible. And there's so many parts of the Bible that we've never even seen and we'll never see. Because aren't they locked up in the Roman Catholic Church in Italy and they're just...
Well, there's a big debate, obviously, and it'll be forever, and we're never going to solve it. Certainly not in this conversation, but is the Bible the inerrant Word of God, or is the Bible the inspired Word of God?
I say it's the inspired.
That's the distinction.
With the exception of the 10 Commandments with the tablets.
Well, actually, there were 613.
How did we first meet? We were out there just hanging out. I was looking at your limo.
I was playing tennis with a neighbor of mine, and you were playing with the next court with Simon.
And without even talking or anything, just started returning the tennis balls, and we started playing tennis.
She was practicing her serve, and I went over to the court, and I just started returning her serves. And I just thought, who's this girl with a great serve? But she's very, very modest. She's a great tennis player. She loves tennis. And it was very important to me to cultivate friends on the tennis court in my cultivating my new friendships in South Florida. So that's how we initially merged. And then we got closer. And we got to know each other a little bit better. And I'm not gonna go crazy about this or anything, but let's just say, oh, that's my buddy from England. Yeah.
And Jordan and I were playing, and I think you and Simon were a little competitive. And I thought, you guys thought, I think, you could, kick our ass.
And so we played some doubles.
And we played some doubles.
And did you beat us?
No, you guys beat us.
We beat you?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we went over, he drove.
Who keeps score?
I keep score.
And then I remember it must have been at the end of it must have been springtime.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it was hot.
Jordan was leaving to go away for the summer, and Simon was going back to England. So you and I exchanged, tennis is like, with a partner, is like dating. You're always sort of on the lookout for the next.
We bonded. I think it was our mutual love of tennis that just really made us get close quickly.
Absolutely.
And I just think it's a very cool thing, actually. So it's kind of amazing how quickly you can get to know somebody and feel comfortable with somebody when you have a common interest like that, especially something that you, like a real passion.
But I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to recreate myself,
Well, here, it is healthier for you because you can go play tennis in the middle of February, where you can't do that in Indiana.
Yeah, you're never cooped up here. I was on the Burger King and vodka diet, and I ballooned up to 270 pounds, and I had to get that weight off. I did, and I started by hitting the tennis court, late 30s, and that was right around the time I returned to the theater. So I would say a cross between tennis and going back to the theater, both those things saved my life. So one of the big reasons why I wanted to move to South Florida is because tennis is such a big thing down here. Everybody plays it and everybody's excited.
The next partner.
Just to hit with singles.
Yeah, the singles. Yeah.
We're always on the lookout. If the tennis culture down here, you're always on the lookout for the next to hit with.
How steady are you with these?
He cheats. He cheats a lot. He cheats. He's got. I am very hurt because he's got a million tennis suitors.
Well, I call him the tactician.
And me,
he's got all these trick shots.
I don't really cheat too much on tennis.
No,
but you cheat.
It's a hodgepodge and it's very diverse. So you could always go out there and find somebody to hit with.
Jeff has got more people in his tennis circle. Every time I go over there, he's playing with someone else.
And this particular park that we go to, that I found, Calusa Park, that's where you're going to find all the gypsies and the vagabonds of the tennis world.
It's a mix.
It is. You got former pros out there, and it's a hodgepodge, and it's very diverse. And I think, the only reason why I love tennis so much is I found pictures of my mother when she was a teenager, with a tennis racket in her hand. And my father was, if you didn't play basketball, football, or baseball, it wasn't really a sport. He used to tell me it was a sissy sport. Dad said when he was working on his master's down at IU in Bloomington that he would watch the tennis team playing, and one day the tennis team asked him to come down and hit because they knew he was a natural athlete. He claims that he went down there, and the first time he ever picked up a tennis racket, he went down there and beat everybody on the tennis team. That was my dad, and I'm like, Dad, why do you find tennis such a sissy sport? He's like, oh, just little sissy shorts and little sissy shoes. And,
well, it's changed a lot. It's not really like that now.
No, it's tough. And it's hard to learn it. It's not like riding a bike. You don't play, you lose it.
It's a different game now, actually. But I think in answer to the question you asked about the level, that's not really something important. I think it's just the passion. Just, meeting somebody who enjoys something that you really love so much.
But I came down here. Chris Everett started the ball rolling because I gave some money to her charity, and she invited me down to play some tennis with her and have dinner with her. And so when I met Delia, I told her about this, and Delia's like, okay, so I would have liked to have done that with Roger Federer.
Chris Everett is one of the great figures that American sports has ever produced. 18 major championships, 7 French, 6 Open, 3 Wimbledon, 2 Australians.
Good afternoon. Thank you for that intro, Michael.
You were famous pretty much from the time you were 15 on in this country. What's it like to not just grow up good, but to grow up famous?
It's not easy to grow up famous.
My hero. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You are
everything.
The wind.
Oh, yeah.
You are the wind beneath my wings. And we both are singers. We both love to belt it out. There's so few of us left.
Oh, yeah. It's.
But now his son, your middle son,
Yes.
the one that won all the Emmys.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I learned from getting to know Chris Everett is the fact that never get to know somebody you've admired all your life. You know, I waited 37 years to meet that woman. And I got to meet her and spend some time with her. And then after I did, you know, I'm glad that I did it, but I'm not glad that I did it because I was disappointed in who she really was. You know, I found her aloof.
You idolize people. You put them on a pedestal.
Absolutely, and I found her aloof. Mm-hmm. You know, when I really got to know her. I mean, one time I was at hot yoga with her and her sister, and I saw her just go off on her sister right in front of me. Just tell her sister off and yell and scream at her sister, and I was embarrassed. I was like, you know, I can't believe this. And then, you know, a friend
found out she was human.
Well, worse than human.
Right.
And you know, she doesn't like to go out into public because she doesn't like it when people come up to her in public and gush over her, and she hates it even more when people don't know who she is.
Where Andy Warhol kind of left off.
Did you know Andy?
Yeah, you knew Andy well, and maybe you know him, Peter Max.
Oh, yeah.
Because Andy came right out of that.
Andy Warhol.
Greenwich Village.
You know, Liza Minnelli is damn lucky to be alive. I mean, what she's done to herself.
You know, I was on the floor with Liza Minnelli when she was dancing at Studio 50.
Were you really?
Yeah. I knew that Roy Cohn was gay before everybody did. Really? And I'll leave it at that.
Oh, you knew from firsthand experience.
I knew that Roy Cohn was gay. You know. Do you know who Roy Cohn is? He was the lawyer that he worked with Joe McCarthy in the McCarthy hearings.
I remember
He was Donald Trump's lawyer. Yeah. He was all these sleazy guys' lawyer. He himself was the sleaziest guy in the world.
Truman Capote.
Met him.
But you know, Ernest Hemingway's granddaughter, Margot Hemingway.
Yeah, Margot Hemingway.
Was on the, you know, because I'm a huge
right. Yep.
Ernest Hemingway purist.
Capote never seemed real socially functional.
Well, he was an alcoholic.
He just sat around. Yeah. Well, more than that, he
entertained everybody.
He was a druggie, and he was lonely. Actually, he was a very, very lonely person. Yeah. And I met Tennessee Williams, and although by then he was retired, beyond all of his. I mean, and people actually, you know, they point out, you know, that's Tennessee Williams. And, you know, it's like, you don't know who they are.
Tennessee Williams was gay, too, of course, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's really gay. I never won a NEDF. I never even got nominated for one. The NEDFs are like awards they have every year in our area for theater. And they do a big thing like it's the Oscars and everything. And so they come out with the nominations every year. I remember one year, you know, right in the middle of my theater therapy, you know, the theater therapy started around 2004 when I turned 40 and ended, you know, right around the time I turned 50, you know. And in the middle of that, I did my one-man show. But they have this thing called the NEDF Awards. And so they got a viewing committee that comes to all your shows. So when I was in the theater therapy right around 2006, you know, I did 7 shows in one year. And all those shows were nominatable. You know, so best actor in a musical, best supporting actor. Yeah. I didn't get nominated for anything, and I was P.O. Wasn't I, Dan? That's why, you know, I'm so drawn to your positivity. You know, it's just like I just suck it up. And it's exciting, your new adventures with your theater company, and you know, I think that's going to do great things. I'm really excited about that. And excited about getting involved in it too with you.
We'll see if we can get a part for you and get you on stage again, get you back on stage.
That's going to be tough. Maybe the real authentic ones are, but the generic show business people that I came across in Northwest Indiana are not big-hearted people. They're selfish little heads. And you could go ahead and print that.
No, edit that. That needs to be edited. Let's do an editing session. I have a couple that I know already.
But I think the real authentic show business people are these big-hearted, open people. That's who I am. I'm a real show business person. The rest of them aren't. How dare, Nina? Don't get me started.
What I think is cool about Jeff is that he likes to entertain, to make people feel good and make people happy, elevate people, not just for his own ego.
No.
That's a really nice thing, I think.
I never won a NEDF. I was so depressed after we did Sparkle. You know, all that work and everything. And then after we closed Sparkle, how it was just, you know, you asked me to go out to dinner with you. And you and I were sitting there at, where were we? Quaker Steak and Lube or something like that? Yeah, we were sitting there and I said, Dan, I'm just really low. I said, if I don't start feeling better, in a week, I'm gonna check myself in the hospital. This is ridiculous. I can't suffer like this. So Dan gave me this look like, snap out of it, Jeff. You can't be serious. You know, and, you know, somebody will give you a look like that, and it does snap you out of it. And, you know, she's done that to me. You know, she did this thing with me. I was really down at one point, and she's like, Jeff, oh, this is ridiculous. No, you need professional help immediately. And, you know, oh, I've got these doctors on my list, and we're good with your insurance. You need to see a professional and all this kind of stuff. And it snapped me out of it because I'm like, nobody's going to tell me to go see a shrink. So I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm all right. I don't need it. I didn't want to go to the psychiatrist. I snapped myself out of it, okay, didn't I?
You did.
But I think she used reverse psychology on me like that, didn't you? You were like, oh, you're suffering too much. You need to see a professional. This is ridiculous that you're suffering like that. But it snapped me out of it because I didn't want to go see a doctor. Wait, that's really personal, isn't it? That I'm sharing that?
Well, it's your show.
I think
you got editorial control.
Well, I think that if you go through a depression, you got to own it. I think depression is just a part of adult life. You know, and I learned, you know, I've had it since I was a kid, and I've learned different ways of dealing with it. You know, and this shall pass. You know, all these little things that I do to get myself out of it. You know, get up and get at them, start moving, make your body move. You know, all these things. And if you're prone to this, you know, in your genes or whatever, biologically, environmentally, you know, you've got to find a way to work with it. And it's just part of adult life. And some people have it worse than others. I really believe that. And I think it's a journey. I think it's been good for me in a way. You know, it's made me stronger. I'm trying to get that through to some of my family members now who are going through the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely genetic. You know, I think my mother and father had it. I look back on it, and my siblings have a little bit, and I've definitely suffered from it. But, you know, I know how to. My dad was great at it. My dad knew how to bounce back. I never saw anybody bounce back like him. He'd be like worrying, and I could tell he was, and I'd be like, Dad, you're depressed. No, I'm not depressed. You know, he was just very, very Germanic. You know, they didn't admit to being depressed. That just wasn't something a German person does. You know, but I knew he was. But he knew how to snap himself out of it, and I think I've gotten a lot better at it as the journey goes on.
Well, if you do something, I mean, don't sit and dwell on it.
No, you got to get out. You got to make your body move. You got to go out to the tennis court or go out and do something, or go help somebody else.
Yeah.
Get your mind off yourself. Get out of your own head. Me, you know, we talked about depression a lot, and he said that at least he thought depression was honest. You know,
depression is honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Depression. Most people are really. I mean, how many people out there do you know that got exactly what they wanted out of this life?
You're not supposed to get what you want.
Yeah.
I said this, I don't know if it sounds like psychobabble. God doesn't give you what you want. God gives you what you need.
I experienced being around somebody who committed suicide. That's right. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. And, you know, I've experienced a lot of suicides.
Experience, really,
You know, I mean, I just had a friend of mine a couple years ago down here in Florida, jumped off the Tampa Bay Bridge, and it just rattled me.
I remember that.
You know, so it's very, very real. And that's when you and I had that conversation about your friend that committed suicide. And, you know, you knew him well, and they came to you, his family, and asked what was going on. But, you know, I just think if somebody's really going to commit suicide, you know, I've never felt suicidal in any of my depressions. I mean, of course, I think everybody fantasizes about it. But when you fantasize about it, you think, I wonder what they're going to say about me when I'm gone. I wonder how they're going to gush over about how wonderful I was and how exciting and how special I was. You don't, like, really fantasize about actually doing it. I never have. Mine's more like, you know, well, wait a minute, Jeff. If you do that, you won't be around to see what their reaction is. It's like a catch-22, you know? So I've never thought about it, but I think if somebody is really going to do it, they're going to find a way to do it, and I don't think there's any stopping them.
Right.
You know,
it's no one's fault, really. I wouldn't have. A lot of times, people feel guilty, but it's not really.
Two guys, and you know, we talked about this. Something similar happened to you, but I met these two guys, and we all the same age, and we were all going through our little depressions, our turning 30 crisis, and Keith and Brett, and both of them were, you know, I thought they were doing better than me. And so we all got out on the same day and we exchanged numbers. And then a week later, I opened up the paper and read both their obituaries. Age is just a number. And we look damn good, don't we?
We do. We're doing
The best of times is now, so live and love as hard as you know how. See, I'm not in very good voice either. I'm really disappointed in the way I was playing tennis, and I really can't sing. I'm feeling a little poorly. I think I was so excited about you coming down, Dan. My goodness. But the best is yet to come.
Oh, sure.
Don't you agree?
Keep on believing that if you want.
Are you afraid of
Success?
aging?
Am I now? I'm not so much. I was for a while there. I went through a spell where I was, but I've kind of come to terms with that. You know, I've kind of earned this gray hair now. You know, I got a lot of gray hair, and I got gray hair on my chest.
Yeah, I do
which
too.
is crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's.
But you know, I try to take precaution. But you know, it's like Dan always says, it's a natural process. You know, I tried the Botox route and all that. I did that.
Well, I never did that.
You know, I just
my aunt did that. You know, but but
I'm not afraid of
but
aging.
that's not. I think we live in a society where
everybody else is going to age right along with us. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a means to an end.
Everybody ages too.
You know, if you get a facelift, they look terrible on men, especially.
I have to say though, even though I used to be that which people were drawn to, I really was. I now am drawn to youthful-looking people, women and men.
Yeah.
Like we live in a society that you doors open up for you if you're beautiful and you're young. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And what attracts me, it's really something, is it has to be the mind. I have friends that, you know, I would easily marry them, men, because of their mind. They're brilliant men. I just love people that have, you know, that stimulate me mentally.
That have moxie.
I
love that word,
moxie. They have broad thoughts and things. I mean, it's just
deep thinkers.
And we overlook that. Most people are, you know, kind of ditzy and.
Ignorance is bliss.
Did you ever see a beauty pageant where they asked the beauty contestant, girl, you know, what's your greatest hope? The world peace. I mean, it's so stupid.
Well, you know, like I said, sometimes it's very rough to be a deep thinker. I was getting Botox when I first moved down here, and you know.
Oh yes, you were.
And it just, I came and where have you been, Jeff? And I said, I just went and got some Botox injections. And she's like, well, I see where your priorities are. Remember when you said that to me? And, you know, I didn't like the way I looked in pictures. I just looked kind of plastic. You know, so I stopped doing that after a couple. Plus, it's expensive.
Yeah.
You don't get it done either anymore, do you?
I want to. I don't have anything in my face right now.
Yeah, I don't either. I just, you know.
I do need it though. I need it right here in my puppet lungs.
I think you're perfect.
He's prejudiced.
I wouldn't change a thing. You're just too good to be true. She is. I'm a better artist than I've ever been, and it's just a shame that, you know, this didn't happen when I was 30 and said I wouldn't be now at 50, but hell, 50's the new 30 anyway, so what's the difference, right?
Agree.
Now, if I quit smoking, it's really going to be the new 30, isn't it?
Okay, when's our next rematch?
As soon as possible.
Well, it's amazing because when Charles came home from the bank that day, he says, babe, I picked up this guy. And I said, that's a new one. I said, okay. Is he taller than me? He says, big, tall guy. He's a singer, he's an actor. I said, okay, did you invite him over? He said, yeah, I did. How'd you know? I said, it's just you. You know, that's just the way Charles is.
He goes, have you ever thought about doing a one-man show? He goes, you're just off your rocker. You're just nuts. And I'm like, what do we have to do? That sounds interesting. Would I be the center of attention? Let's do it. All right. Would I have the chance? I'd have my own show? He's like, yes, and maybe this could catapult you into being a working actor. He goes, I've just never experienced anything. There's something about you on stage. You're just bananas. You're just nuts. And he meant it very endearingly. You know, it wasn't like, ew, you're a big weirdo. I want to get you on film. You know, so that's what, and he's like, okay. So he started recording me just like this. And we did that for a year, and then he started writing my one-man show. And what this is a... Oh, you know what? We've got it on audio. We could send it to you. It's pretty close to the bone, isn't it, Dan?
What do you mean by
I think a lot of it, I mean, is
Yeah.
it's so honest. It like almost made the audience uncomfortable. You know, it's you know, talking about depression. I talked about how, you know, when I turned 30, I did check myself into the hospital because I was down in the dumps, and my illusions of that were it was going to be like a spa. You know, I really thought that, oh, kiss my ass and make me feel better and snap me out of this, but it was just the opposite. You know, it was horrible. You know, it's like I'm like, hey, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm in here. I just turned 30 and I'm depressed. What are you in here for? And you know, this guy's eating his dinner and he's like, well, I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, and I'm like, I'm out of here. That's it. You know, I don't need to be here. So you know, I bolted for the door and. You know, they put me in leather restraints for 24 hours to contain me. Because once you check yourself in, you can't check yourself out.
He came in and he was singing. I said, okay, you're in. I said, because first of all, I love show tunes. And he was just belting them out. And when he went out on the boat with us, and he was a very free soul.
On the Avenue.
Oh my
Breakfast.
God.
Sitting at the table.
And he was singing to the Avenue. Everyone was like enjoying the whole moment because they were saying, okay, do you know this song? Or do you know? And he would just sing for them. And it was so natural for him, you know.
I'd love to sing on the Avenue. And you know what? I think that, you know, if things got really rough financially, I could take a little coffee can out there.
I've owned theaters, I've owned nightclubs, so I've been in that part of, you know, and produced Charles with his books. This man here, he's a trip. Okay.
That's why, you know, I'm so drawn to your positivity. You know, it's just like I just suck it up. And it's exciting, your new adventures with your theater company, and you know, I think that's going to do great things. I'm really excited about that. And excited about getting involved in it too with you.
We'll see if we can get a part for you and get you on stage again. Get you back on stage.
That's going to be tough. Possible.
Love you, my friend.
I love you too. Isn't she swell? Isn't she special?
Yes. Thanks, Jen.
It is the beginning. What's that? It's the end of the beginning. So that's what you.
I don't like goodbyes. I don't like long goodbyes. I never have. So I don't like to say goodbye. I like to say hello.
There you go.
I like to say hello.
I like the song, right? You say goodbye and I say hello, hello, hello.
Oh, that's the Beatles, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You know what I thought you were going to do? I thought you were going to sing, you say tomato, and I say tomato. You say potato, I say potato. Tomato, potato, tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. Okay. Say that I love these two, and they love me, and we're family.
Yes, we are.
I love you too, pussycats. The best is yet to come, and she's gonna be fine. You think you seen that sun, but you ain't seen it shine. Wait till the countdown's underway. You've barely met Big Jeff. I'd like to see that sunshine day. How sunny does it get? A pretty sunny. Okay. Thanks, Catherine. You gave us some very, very good footage.
Thank you.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Is that beautiful?
Beautiful.
Of course it is. We're like the Bobbsey twins. Go to Halloween parties together and get all dressed up.
Yes.
We're just like big kids together.
And we pick on all the little kids.
Do you want to do your routine for them from Miss...
What?
Now presenting Catherine McGlennon. Scott. Hey, thank you, Mark. That's all for now, I think.
The producers wish to thank the Florida Tourism Board, Disney World, and the MacArthur Foundation for their generous support.